Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ackolyte here, bringing you the play-by-play. We have Devyn stepping in the casting booth with me, and tonight in Prime Meta League for Game 3, we've got Run It Down taking on the juggernaut that is the Jumbos. Devyn, what do you have coming in tonight for our viewers to expect?
Expect Jumbos to play for lane dominance because their players are all very, very highly ranked and very, very strong individually. So they've sort of just been adopting the we're just going to win every lane and steamroll you strategy so far here. They haven't really had an opportunity to show off any creative macro or large plays late game because they're just always massively ahead by that point.
Looking for like a hands difference, it seems like tonight. As we get into the bans, and speaking of hands difference, banning to someone who face rolls the Q on the keyboard, we have Ambessa as first ban against the Jumbos. And that's kind of playing towards Chicana, who is one of the higher ranking members of the Jumbo squad. Ambessa was his number one when I did my little bit of scouting. Does some tank duty, but if we're talking about hands difference, maybe he'll look to do some of that carry oriented stuff. He does have the Gnar in his back pocket too. We could see maybe even something wild like a Gangplank, but I mean, who knows? We've had Skarner support in this league, so anything could happen.
I think this Ambessa ban is a bit outdated, actually. She took a very, very large nerf in the patch that was like 3 days ago or something, increasing the delay on her ultimate. So it's basically dodgeable on reaction always. You have to set it up now, which I think makes the pick a lot less interesting. And there's the Smolder. There's the Smolder again.
Yeah, Smolder, disgusting late game scaling right now. Used to be he struggled really hard in the early game. Now early game is a little bit more stable. Has the mid game slump that you could see, but that late game scaling with the execute is just atrocious.
Yeah, he gets to survive a lot easier now that you can build into an early Black Cleaver. Really appreciates having that extra health and CD early on. We're going to see Vayne Ivern from Jumbos. There's the hands difference.
Amen to that. Now that could be a Vayne flex. We see Vayne top a lot more recently in the pro leagues. You usually wait to kind of do Vayne for a counter pick, but seeing the Smolder be picked first, that kind of indicates it's going to be a Vayne bot side.
Picking Sejuani into Vayne, which I'm not sure about.
Yeah, you kind of need a little bit more, I guess, damage or dive. You don't want Vayne to be able to free hit. Same with Smolder. You don't want Smolder to be able to free hit either, but Vayne needs that consistent time, just hit the same target over and over and over again. We do have the Enchanter Jungler in the Ivern. We'll see if they'll go double Enchanter, or maybe they're going to do something like an Alistar for a little bit more space. And
this is so early. This is so early to pick Kled. You're picking Kled before round 2 bans into whatever your opponent wants to play top. This is really early. He's a very counterable champion. We're going to see Maokai from Jumbos. Okay, they're going all in on the Vayne, it appears. Maokai, very flexible, can play support top and jungle, and very good healing for Vayne. Targeted root, the knockback on Q, all quite good at helping keep people off of her.
So I've heard tonight we've had some pretty unique drafts in terms of the overall season. Do we have any possibilities of the Ivern mid? I know LS was a fan of that back in the day.
I don't think that works anymore, but if anybody can pull it off, Jumbos can. It would be wild, but we'll see. Usually you would pick that. You might flex it if the lane matchup was particularly good for him, but I don't even know what a good lane matchup for Ivern mid looks like. I couldn't tell you. We're going to ban Kali and Katarina.
Yeah, and then on the other side, banning away the tanks that Kled can't maybe burst through as easily, banning away the Scion. And I mean, are they looking for a little bit more engage? You think Jumbos has to draft a little bit more damage out of their comp right now? It can't just solely rely on the Vayne.
Yeah. I don't know why we're banning Katarina when we have Maokai on our team. Because that champion, it's a nightmare to play Katarina into Maokai with the 4-second CD knockup on Q. You can't ever channel your ult. You get rooted to it. So I don't really see the point in the Vayne, in the cat ban. We're going to... Okay. It looks like Jumbos is picking a bruiser in this.
All right, that makes sense. Trying to complement the damage a little bit from the Vayne. We should see from their mid laner a lot of damage coming out. Maybe something that extends the fight or separates the fight, such as like a Nivea wall or maybe a gravity field from a Victor. and they're
Yeah,
going
I'd like to see a
Ornn.
Victor here. We're going all in on Vayne. We definitely need a secondary source of damage in the mid lane, unless we're super confident Vayne's never going to die. But this is quite strong into Smolder, who does struggle to deal with tanks. Very notorious as a caster-based ADC, not good into those big beef stack HP tanks. Maokai and Ornn both very difficult for Smolder to get down before he reaches that true damage burn point where he just.
Yeah, the Nico to supplement the Smolder is pretty interesting. Does allow them to have that pick. There is a little bit AoE that comes out of it, but if Nico gets knocked up or CC, it's going to be really hard for Nico to pull off that engage. So they have to get pretty creative with their angles. I don't know if they're going to be able to just run at the front line of Jumbos like you may want to. A Silas pick, that is huge.
Silas is. There's a lot of good ultimates for him to steal here, and he does do quite well in skirmishes where the enemy team doesn't have a lot of burst. That W healing can really get out of hand if you can't kill him when he's low. So I do kind of okay. It is an Ivern.
Great.
Unless it's
mid?
Graves mid, Graves top, Vayne top, Graves bottom. Who knows? Jumbos are doing some like cup stacking magical hidden ball lane swaps. And Run It Down has been very obvious about where each of their champions is going to lane. So
yeah, this is A+ drafting right here. I even thought at the beginning when I saw the Katarina ban, I went, oh man, no one bans Katarina in competitive play. I thought that they might have been trolling and spelling out the words at the bottom, like they used to do a long time
oh
ago.
yeah,
Like CLG win or TSM or stuff like that. But we have the draft. It is finalized. I don't know if there was anything in chat about that mispick or anything. I mean, based on what we see on our screen, we think that might be the case. But if they're locking in this, it's going to be an interesting ride.
somebody's doing something weird, or there's a mispick somewhere in this setup. If there is, I would expect it to be Ivern. Could it be support Ivern in the Graves in the jungle? No, there's no mid laner. Okay. We have confirmed that it is mid lane Ivern.
Let's go! Called it.
We are smoking crack. Jumbos has decided that they are going to play whatever the hell they feel like today. I cannot, in good conscience, believe that their mid laner has been practicing Ivern mid, but it's been proven in this league that cheese picks are quite powerful. So, and Jumbos, they're Jumbos.
Cheese is the flavor of the night, especially on our Monday nights in Prime Meta League. When you have those best of ones, anything can really happen over the course of the season. I mean, Jumbos have been playing very well all season long. They are top of the league. If they do drop a game here or there, it really isn't that big in terms of playoff implications because they still hold pretty convincing wins over second, third, and fourth place. Run it down a little bit on the lower side of the standings. Jumbos, I guess, just wanting to test. What's that called? A handicap? Almost like a handicap in golf, or
we have someone from Jumbos in stream chat saying that they do indeed practice it, but that man is lying to us. That man is lying to us. Their coach is in chat. I don't believe you, brother. There is no way you are seriously practicing Ivern mid, or if you are, congratulations, you are the funniest coach of all time.
Didn't even spell a funny name with the picks, man. Let me down over here. Could be a Nick fan. Maybe we have LS stream on in the background.
I mean, I like LS, but
was Ivern mid picked in pro at least once or twice?
Maybe a while ago when Ivern was more popular. He hasn't seen a lot of play recently, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, he's definitely below the tier of like normal mid pick, but I might have been picked as a cheese option in pro play.
Okay, so let's try to think about the logic here. I see Ivern running shields onto the front line, especially onto the Maokai, or even the Graves who wants to get up close and personal. But just a shield with a beefy front line, I thought there might be even some more HP-based champions or I mean, healing champions, maybe like a Sona or a
Well,
Nami, but no,
Maokai does do a lot of self-healing, and so the shields on him, I mean, shielding Maokai when he W's in is a very appealing prospect. I see how the idea of the team fight works. I have no clue how Ivern is going to lane into Sylas, is my
Okay, so let's look at this from the other side of Run It Down's perspective. We have the Kled for the long range engage, and it seems like to get onto the Vayne or to the Graves, they're just going to have to do a lot of maneuvering to get onto those priority targets.
Yeah, they're going to have to get through the iron wall of peel that is Ornn, Maokai, Ivern. It's just so like Kled's going to ult in and get Maokai W'd, and Sylas is going to E forward and get Kled rooted. Get Ivern rooted, and then Sejuani's going to Q forward and get knocked up or Vayne condemned. Or there's just very little way to get in onto the Vayne easily. If she gets caught out, she's going to die in an instant. But if we play properly and do front to back on jumbos, it's very, very hard for Run It Down to get in there. And Smolder is like left out to dry on his own here. Everybody wants to be diving forward, and Smolder is just sitting there like kind of miserable. I think it doesn't really mesh.
Yeah, they're gonna have to find some crazy angles, a lot of flanks from the Nico, from the Sylas onto the side. I mean, Sylas can steal some pretty good ultimates. He could steal the Call of the Forge Gods, can have an own Daisy for himself. So now we got a 6-on-6. I didn't know we
Those
changed.
are, I think, in terms of Sylas ults, like Ornn and Ivern are the ones that he wants. Maokai can be acceptable, but is pretty mid. Graves is literally just a burst of damage that he doesn't synergize particularly well with, and Vayne ult is obviously terrible.
Yeah. I mean, Smolder tries to fly by people. I mean, if he's able to go over wall, they don't really have good mobility on the side of jumbos. Like, yeah, Vayne has the relentless pursuit. Graves has his dash as well. But in terms of like their tanks and their engage, I mean, if they don't hit the ultimates from the Ornn or from the Maokai, it's going to be hard for them to maybe start fights.
Yeah, it's going to be quite difficult for them to start fights, but do they really need to, or do they just need to stand next to Vayne while she hits Baron and say, come fight us? I mean,
They're
it's
going to
Vayne.
invite them in. Yes, they'll invite them into the team fight as we invite the teams onto the Rift. Nothing crazy so far, just your standard 5-point, and we are ready to start game 3 tonight. Hardstucker in mid lane on the Ivern.
Is that a Doran's helm?
That is a Doran's helm. I didn't even recognize the item.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen anyone buy that.
Yeah. Oh, a little bit of a scrap in the top lane. Gusty Giggle trying to put some damage down onto Chikana. But the claw lands, pulls him back. And it's just a tank fest right now. A couple of grass things. We dismount this Kled, and Kled wins the trade overall.
Yeah, Kled, you don't ever want to trade with Kled at level 1. If he gets an early dismount and takes you to a reasonable amount of HP, he's going to heal for 400 somewhere just in the middle of these fights, and you're going to be stuck sitting there at nothing. So this is a very good start for the Kled.
Yeah, another thing I noticed too, Kled going for the teleport flash, kind of the classic combo. I wasn't sure if you pick something like Kled sometimes. I mean, if you're going off the wall with the draft, maybe why not your summoner spells as well? A little surprised he didn't take a Knight with him. Knight gets aggressive onto the Ivern, but he's hitting them with those auto attacks, and those are deviously powerful coming out of the tree in the mid lane.
Yep, very, very strangely high damage. It's reminding me a lot of Orianna. It's going to be a lot easier when Sylas is W up and can start trading quite well. A couple levels in that. Wow, Kled is doing very well into this lane. I would have expected him to take Ignite, to be honest. I don't see much of the use for teleport. You've already got a semi-global. You're Kled. You want to be hyper-aggressive.
Trade of summoner spells onto the bot lane. Heal is used from the Maokai onto the Vayne. Barrier still up for the Smolder. The barrier is actually up for both ADCs. Vayne tumbles forward, eats a couple Qs from the Nico, and that's AD for support right now in terms of damage.
Right now, I think it's better for Run It Down because the Vayne is the one that's almost dead for Jumbos, and Smolder's full HP. So if they do have to trade recalls here, Smolder gets to eat more of the wave. We're going to see jungle pressure coming in from the Sejuani, although I don't know if she's going to go for this. Graves is here.
Up on the same side. Tattoo Potato, try saying that 5 times fast. He tries to go aggressive, but Silas Knight dashes forward, realized that the gank was there, and just decides to trade 1-for-1 under the tower. Graves does pick up the kill, no assist for the Ivern. Meanwhile, Twisted advance forward for the Maokai into 3. Tattoo Potato goes forward, flashes, missed. The barrier keeps him alive, and Vayne is able to pull away. Meantime, Maokai is trying to get away. One more auto attack from Nico is going to secure it. Meanwhile, Kled gets back on his mount, but here's Aaron Loaf ready, puts down the smoke screen, trying to put the damage down. Here comes a teleport from Silas, and that teleport takes so damn long. He's going to move forward, has his abilities, uses the E, but gets blocked by a minion. Gusty Giggle playing a little bit too close to the chest, but look at that damage onto Shao Kahn. He falls down, and Aaron Loaf has to walk away. Gusty Giggle trying to put down the damage as well, but Aaron Loaf goes very small. Flash forward, lands the chains, gets the W, the Night Slayer, the Kingslayer, and Knight says good night to Graves. 4-for-1 sequence of play for Run It Down.
Wow. That play kind of just went over the entire map, didn't it? We started in bot lane, walked back up to mid lane, saw Knight make a very intelligent decision to just go forward and trade. Back down the bottom, and then all the way back up to top. And the end result is that Run It Down is in a very advantageous position right here.
Yeah, that was wild. They started on the bottom scuttle, and then the play just snowballed from that. Graves goes up for the gank and just had the most efficient gank path I think I've ever seen. But meanwhile, Nico goes for the gank in the mid lane. Hardstucker is not even able to get away. He doesn't even have flash available. Knight's on a killing spree, and Silas is looking very damn dangerous.
Yeah, that was my concern with the Ivern mid, is that you just get dived and die. And wow, Silas is good at that. So Silas, doing the Silas thing and absolutely rending the early game. Let's see if Run It Down can carry this through late on. Because Jumbo's team does scale very well. Maybe not as much as Smolder.
See, we don't usually get a chance to see a Vayne AD carry versus a Smolder AD carry. Vayne just recently coming back into the meta, but Knight is already on his way down. Here's the ultimate from the Maokai. He locks him up. Vayne just trying to trade damage. Flame gets the kill. Amin picks up the purple unicorn for himself. Silas getting assist, but meanwhile, Gusty Giggle putting damage on Shao Kahn in the top lane, and it is just a bloodbath all over the Rift.
Knight is putting his entire team on his back and forcing this through. That man is going crazy. Incredible move down bottom. They just no wards, just right through the tri-bush. And we're seeing a dragon fight.
Yeah, Aaron Loaf goes forward, puts down the smoke screen, but Sejuani able to get out, smites the dragon, gets the heal from it. Aaron Loaf does get the kill, flashes forward, is able to get over the wall, but Flame's Q is casted before he leaves. Knight is on a rampage, and he's going to have to 1v2 as Twisted Advance takes down the Nico. Can he 1v2 the tanks? We mentioned earlier the tanks and the enchanters might not make it work. He uses the chains to get away onto the minion wave.
Minion blocked.
Daisy's shield is not enough to keep him alive. Good answer from Jumbos there.
Yeah, Jumbo's the best answer they could have gotten, although they did trade 3 for 2, and they came out 1 kill ahead, but 1 dragon down, with the Sejuani getting the smite off there. So fairly even overall. Knight is still not been shut down. Okay, well, Kled players doing as Kled players do.
Yeah, sir. And Aaron Loaf is just all over the map. That guy has probably put in what, 1 gank every minute so far. But Vayne tumbles forward, not quite level 6, but they're not even going to wait for it. Heal is used. Condemn is not going to land on the wall, and they're going to be forced to disengage right there. Both defensive summoner spells used for the Run It Down bot lane.
Yeah, this is the difficulty with playing Smolder into these strong diving supports like Thais, Leona, what have you, is that you get hit and you just have to blow everything or die. And now Maokai can do things like look to Hex Flash or Flash from mid-bush and just root Smolder to death. Although Vayne is like half dead here.
Yeah, Vayne ate a lot of damage getting picked by the
Smolder
Nico.
teased
Twisted the pants forward onto Smolder just to try to dissuade them from continuing their advances. Vayne still picking up the CS, is down 0 kills. But we see the chain forward from the Sylas. He summons a Daisy of his own. We gotta come up with another name besides Daisy for Sylas's version.
I don't think Knight is an experienced Ivern player. He's not doing the best at microing this Daisy.
Part of the 180. That's the one character that has 180 different ults. I think we can cut him a little slack.
Yeah, especially because it's such a weird one.
Doesn't even really care much for the mid CS too. He's just been going all over the place. Gets out of the damage, gets the electrocute proc, but Aaron Loaf is just gonna shut him down in the mid lane.
Yep.
And Graves is starting to pop off.
Graves is just everywhere. He's very strong early game. You know, a lot of burst damage coming out of that jungler, and he's just walking around finding people low health and picking them off.
Yeah, just moving so efficiently around the map too. But look at this damage from the Ornn. I thought that Kled would be able to out-damage him when we get into the skirmish, but Kled getting pretty tanky, has a little bit of health, a little bit of armor, and he's able to out-sustain most of this damage. Tattoo Potato looking for something to happen.
Yeah, the Kled Ornn lane flips as soon as Ornn manages to get a chain vest, and will stay that way until Kled gets Black Cleaver. So at this point, Ornn is stronger than Kled just because of percentage max HP, full damage, wacky Ornn combo. Once Kled gets Cleaver, he will be able to kill Ornn through his armor, but that is going to take a bit here.
Yeah, he still has to farm up the gold. I mean, neither team really CSing very efficiently right here. Nothing close to Chovy numbers. And it's just because they're, farming each other, basically. Farming their lives.
Yeah, Sylas never sees good CS numbers because it's so painful to CS on him. The ADCs are looking like the closest. Kled obviously tends to go low in CS, how aggressive he is. Ornn is keeping up a very strong CS number, and Graves is like power farming the map along with Sejuani, who has not been very active. Looks like we're going for Void Grubs here. I don't think there's going to be any contest. Instead, we're going...
Graves is here. Great flash from Gusty Giggle. Gets out of the way, but does get knocked up. Nico is here to get the Pop Blossom, but it's too little too late as Kled has fallen. Aaronlef trying to kite it out. And the raw damage is just too much right now from Tattoo Potato. They're going to turn their sights back onto the Void Leans. And overall, just a good solid kill for JUMBOS to get back. And they have gotten their gold lead back. They were down almost 2k at one point, and then they got their first victory of the... first lead, I should say, of this game.
Yep, and now Maokai is just bullying Smolder. This is pretty sad to see, but is the reality of these aggressive supports in bot lane. Is like,
it just gets caught at the tail end right there. Here comes the clone. Is not gonna be able to get away. He gets contended against the wall. The flash forward from the Vayne gets the crit, gets the kill. And yeah, like you said, it's just a bad feeling right there, just being zoned off of the wave again and again due to the aggressive jungling activity. But here's Aaron Wolf putting damage down onto Knight. Knight has almost no mana left, and he's forced to retreat.
The correct play here is probably to rotate your bot lane to mid, and let Sylas deal with this because he can just kill Vayne. He can just kill her.
Yeah, the wave is just barely out of range. That's just agonizing for Kenta and Purple Unicorn. But here comes the smoke screen. Flashes to their death anyways, because Aaronlef still has the collateral damage to finish it off. And JUMBOS are starting to run away with this.
Yeah, here's where the skill difference starts to show, is that JUMBOS knows how to play out these scenarios that are a little more complex than the basic macro that you see, and Run It Down is just a little confused. They're a little slow to plays. Nico overstays bottom instead of conceding the tower. They don't swap their Smolder in their Nico mid. It's these little macro plays that more experienced players will understand the flow of the game a little better. And these less experienced teams just tend to get into a formula that they don't deviate from.
Meanwhile, Chakana picks up the solo kill onto the Kled. He's just gotten to that point where he surpasses Kled in terms of raw stats, raw damage. Run It Down is opting to take this dragon. They're going to try to get the second one. Tattoo Potato gets Smokescreen. Does get it, but does trade his life. Pop Blossom from Aim and Land. Smolder is trying to get some damage down onto the Maokai. We see Graves on the other side of the wall just waiting, but they're not going to be able to make it happen. Shield from Ivern keeps Maokai alive. Knight is ready and waiting for a flank angle. Flame putting down some damage. Dash forward by Aaronloff. He is shielded up, but does go down dangerously low. Here comes Smolder. Can he get the last Q? And the shield keeps Graves alive. Smolder is on the back line. Knight waiting for his cooldowns. And here comes the shield again and again. The cooldowns are just non-existent right now. As they trade, Smolder gets the Vayne. Vayne picks up a kill for themselves. And just another slobber knocker of a fight around that neutral objective.
Yep, Run It Down is they're getting too invested. They're not cutting their losses early enough, and they stick around and get coin flipped over nothing. Once that dragon goes down, there's nothing to fight over. Why are we here? Why are we here?
Exactly, and we're starting to see the leads become very apparent. Ornn up 30 CS, up 2 levels, 1 level now as Gusty Giggle just gets back up. And he's just able to freeze the wave. And that just feels so bad as a solo laner when you just get froze on and you have no tools to push that wave in.
Kled's got no cleaver. Can't fight him, and it's just going to be that way for a while. Very, very hard to come back from that when you're playing Kled, who is such a defensive champion. You don't really have the tools to play defensive. That's a good.
Yeah, we see an engage. Twisted Advance goes forward. Onto them, they disengage for a little bit and come back. The Pop Blossom was clutch to get there over the line. Mom is called as Maokai is limping away and he's just taking the damage down. We see a lot of misses, but Knight, point and click, Kingslayer takes the kill for himself and Run It Down, not saying goodnight just yet.
Nope, they're still trying to keep in it. Silas maybe didn't need to rotate down for that one, but here Kled dies again.
Down again. Yeah.
Even if he gets the remount, Graves is right there. They're not communicating about where their weak siding, so Kled keeps taking these fights that he's a little out of position for.
I guess that's just the Kled way. You just fight to the death no matter what it is.
Yeah, he doesn't go backwards. There's no backwards button on Kled. He has forwards, and really big forwards.
WSD stuck on W and D right now. Twisted Advance forward to start the fight. Here comes the ultimate from the Maokai. Vayne calls in the final hour. The Pop Blossom is knocked out from the Maokai Q. As Shalkana is limping away right now. Is he going to fall? He is, and that's a shutdown over to the Silas. And if there's anyone you want the gold on, it's the Silas. Tattoo Potato moves forward, takes the Hex Portal, but none of his team follows up with him. And they're just going to push him out of the jungle right now, but there's no neutral camp for them to take.
Sejuani might be turning towards Herald, which is perhaps a bit optimistic, but I think they'll get away. I think Graves is taking the ball here. It's a really dangerous place to be. Nico.
And Vayne just, keeps getting hit by these combos from the Nico again and again. Not able to sustain up enough with that Blade of the Rune King in their pocket.
Yeah, Blade of the Rune King is a very old Vayne tech. And I don't see people go that as frequently anymore, especially because, to Run It Down's team comp, Sejuani is a resistance tank. They don't really have any health stackers aside from Kled. But are we building for the 0-4 Kled?
Yeah, that's true. If you saw Vayne on the other side, if you were to switch AD carries, you could see the Blade of the Rune King make sense. Ornn, Ivern, and Maokai. But this way, I've been seeing a lot more Storm Razor Vayne, a lot more crit Vayne, just trying to do the damage and end the fights a little bit earlier, especially when you're playing into these squishy champions.
Yeah, you can do that. I think Kraken Slayer would have been significantly better as well. Not that Bork is bad. And it does give you that early sustain path, but the proc just doesn't do as much damage as you expect it to do against these squishier champions.
And if you keep getting pushed out of lane over and over again, eventually it doesn't matter what item you build, you need those natural statistics that you get from your levels, from getting up. As you see, Shalkana in the middle of two gets a huge knock-up onto both of them, makes them both very brittle, forcing the flash out of Nico, and that's a huge engage cool that's taken off the map. Flame able to put some damage down as Chakana just face tanks basically everything. Dragon has spawned. Run It Down has to run it back to their base, and it looks like the first dragon of the game for Jumbos is on the menu.
Yep. Ornn is sitting at 2 completed items, which is going to make him just this unmovable wall of a tank right now. Sunfire Jock Show is very difficult to get through at this point in the game.
Okay, well, Kled has finished that Black Cleaver. Does have the Herald, goes right past Dracana. I think he showed himself a little bit by poking his head out of the bush. Still gets those plates, and I'm just going to keep pushing away, just doing Kled things.
Yep. Could reasonably fight. No, probably still can't fight Ornn. Like, he has the Cleaver now, but Ornn is up a full item.
I mean, and the gold has kind of stagnated for the last 3 or 4 minutes. I mean, we saw it was 2k ahead for Run It Down, and then another big insurgence of gold to the Jumbos. But now it's just kind of stayed stagnant as they're going back and forth, fighting over some neutral objectives. Knight thought he wanted the smoke from the Ivern, but as being forced to run away, he doesn't want to stick around too long, as he knew the rest of the team was coming with backup.
Yep, and here is the Maokai to make his day terrible.
Oh, he's going to keep going.
Good flash.
The flash takes the Maokai a little bit deeper into the tower, but the shield is going to keep him alive. Here comes the Maokai ultimate from Silas's perspective. Aaron Love doing his best to clear the mid wave, and I mean, Graves just does that so well, doesn't he?
Yep, he just walks up, presses Q, and the wave is gone, especially when he's this far ahead. So a good attempt to get a mid tower in response to the rotation, but not good enough. And here we're going to see Maokai ult do Maokai ult.
Gets blocked by the clone, but Sejuani not able to hide behind the clone herself. Big double root from Ammon onto both of them, but there's just going to be no follow-up here as Smolder can't find an angle to get in and get his damage. And here comes Kled just splitting away.
Yeah, when you're this far behind, this is what you should be doing. Just splitting, making use of your worthless body somewhere on the map.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not worth any gold, why not? That's one of the most annoying things to me as a solo queue player is when someone just splits over and over and over again. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. Vayne trying to clear the wave, but doesn't quite have the AoE or the wave clear to make it happen. And Run It Down, go down mid lane and take something for themselves.
Yep, Vayne's notable biggest weakness, not having any wave clear at all whatsoever. Static Shiv you could have purchased. So she's going to really struggle to take this. I mean, look at this.
I know, it just takes 3 autos for the range creeps no matter what. That's what feels bad, man.
Ornn is starting to upgrade teammate items, though, which is going to start extending the lead. Ornn making gold more efficient. I mean, a gold lead becomes a virtual lead that's much higher than what it appears. Just by vomiting out free stats, Vayne engages. Wow.
Insane damage on the Flame. Gets the Condemn up into the wall. Takes a couple tower shots themselves. Kenta is having to walk away from a little bit, but is going to be able to wave clear. Has the backup from the Ornn and the Ivern. They are just kind of sharing experience in the mid lane, though. I'm not sure if that's the best for them and their team. Tattoo Potato steps forward, but there's the shield. There's the Mom ultimate. And they're forced to move away. No ultimate from the Sejuani yet. And Jumbos are just going to back off and take their time.
Yep. Vayne does have a lot easier time healing back up after those kind of engages than the Smolder does. That is an upside of having the Blade of the Ruined King. Silas is in position here to do something.
Yeah, there's the flank, lands the chains onto the Maokai. Does not have the ultimate yet to steal from him. As Nico uses the Pop Blossom, but gets popped like a Zit herself. And here's the counter engage. Knight tries to use the Kingslayer to keep himself alive, but all the members of Jumbos are here. And it's a Jumbo slaughter as they move forward onto Gussie Giggle. Are they going to be able to get him down? Lethal Tempo is stacked from Kenta. They put down the damage, but they're going to turn towards the Baron. And that's the correct move. They're going to shred through this thing like nothing.
Yep, that's the exact kind of front-to-back team fight that Run It Down just can't win, ever. No flanks, nothing creative, just we're running at them is just never going to work. Maokai takes too long to die, gets his ult off, and then flip. Kled was trying for a flank, but gets hard stopped by whoever was hiding in that bush back there, and it's just looking very difficult for Run It Down to find an engage that worked.
Yeah, Tattoo Potato doing the best to counter jungle, try to get something back from that play. Barely gets out in time before Jumbos is able to go back and make a punish happen. But now with the Baron empowered minions, it's kind of their map to run.
Yeah, that Nico ult was a couple of units off of being really good. I still think they lose the fight, but it was almost really good. Not quite, though.
And that just shows you the fine margins that these teams are in. Jumbo's just having the hands, just the awareness to dance around that pot boss and ultimate to take away that engage tool and then counter engage themselves, call their members, have the foresight to see that team fight coming from far away, and then take advantage of the misengage.
Yeah, Jumbo's is going to secure this dragon without any contest. They have Baron buff. They're very strong in the front to back. It's just not a fight that Run It Down can take.
Yeah, Maokai uses the Hex Flash just to kind of meme a little bit. Escorts that Baron Empower wave into the mid lane Flames. Not going to be able to do anything about this. And he just has to limp away. Nico is in a position where they might be able to make something happen. But, I mean, you don't win a team fight. You don't win a 5v5.
Yeah, we might see the game just end here. Like, there's a strong possibility that Run It Down gets forced into a desperate last stand. And as long as Vayne lives...
Yeah, Call of the Forge Gods is popped. Here comes the Nico Pop Boss, and they try to delay the engage a little bit, but it's too little too late. As Smolder is just taken off the map. He is eviscerated. Double teleport from Silas, from Kled. Take them back to the fight. They're on the wave. The tower is still there. Are they going to be able to juggle the aggro well enough? Here comes the Maokai ultimate. Roots 2, Roots 3, but they don't quite have the damage. All they have is a Silas and a Kled who have to be up in your face, and that's not where you want to be if you're in against a team like Jumbo's. Their wall is just too thick. Their front line is too tanky, and Jumbo's is just too damn good, even with this comp that we made fun of.
I mean, if it works, Silas going for a very, very optimistic flash E there. I don't know what he's looking for here.
He even tries for that blind and doesn't quite hit. Is spotted out by this, I can't remember the name of it, Scryer's Bloom, I believe it's called. And he just keep running forward. He's down 2 levels against the Graves as well. And he has to know that he's running into an enemy team.
He misses
especially if he misses that. Oh. Yeah, it just gets 2 shot.
This gets deleted. Silas is checked out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could really blame it. After what such an exciting and exhilarating early game from the Silas, just to see your lead kind of slip away from you, it's definitely a feels bad man angle.
Yeah, Silas played it very well, but they just got drafted. They're just very hard drafted. It's very difficult to play Run It Down's team comp into Jumbos.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially, you're basically playing a pick comp, but the team's not letting themselves get picked. They're unpickable.
Yeah, they're just playing straight 5v5s. You notice that Jumbos has not been engaging in any split pushing. They haven't been sending Ornn to weird side lanes. They're just bricks demanding attention.
Yeah, Chagana tries to get the knockup, is dodged by the dismount, but look at just all that damage. The red health bars just don't move in any direction as they're able to just tank the tower shot forever. And Kenta moves forward, gets a triple kill, a quadra kill, gets the ace, and you gotta think that's gonna be the game. They go mid lane, they catch the wave, and
we've got
Jumbo's gonna take this one.
These towers are already dead. Omaiwa Moshin there. Oh wait, Graves is dead.
I mean, did you see how long they tanked that tower shot? They just dove, and it looked like you just didn't see any health bar move at all from the Jumbo's team. But they're going to take the Nexus down in 27 minutes, and Week 7 belongs to Jumbo's on top of the summit as Run It Down stays around that area, and that's going to conclude Week 7 of the Prime Meta League. Devyn, what are your thoughts?
Run It Down played a strong game. There was spaces where they looked good, but their draft was just hard to play. I think that they drafted the Smolder as a power pick and then panicked when they saw Vayne and tried to build an anti-Vayne comp. and left Smolder out to dry. Didn't support their ADC quite as well as they could have, and it just snowballed into a team fight where they couldn't realistically win.
It wasn't the end of the world. I mean, you saw how they had that early game lead. They had a pretty, I don't want to say insurmountable. They had a very healthy gold lead the early part. And then when the 10 to 12-minute rotations came up, when we started getting one items, they just got out macroed by the Jumbos. Graves was just able to get successful gank after successful gank after successful gank. And then the gold lead just kind of slipped away.
Yep, Graves played a very strong game on the map, was always in the right spot to get those gold and that kill income, which really won on Graves. Run it down, just their team was very, very good at skirmishes. Silas, Kled, very strong skirmish champions, and then very bad at team fights. They didn't have the macro to force Jumbos to split up, so we can't win team fights. Get rolled every time. Nico's doing her best. Hot Blossom can't win fights on its own.
Yeah, it's if they had someone that could clear waves in the mid lane, I don't know if they played like a Ziggs bot or if they played like something like Caitlyn or Sivir, just something that can clear the mid waves. Because you saw in the mid lane, they kind of waited. They had Kled on the side lane, they had Silas on the side lane, and they were trying their best to split the map and to split them apart. But Jumbo's just said, we have the go button, we have the engage tools, and they just took them out of their tool belt and just smacked run it down with them on mid lane. They took the fight before they were able to TP and get back to defend their base, and then Jumbos just ran away with it from there.
Yep. Very well played from Jumbos. Run it down, put up a good fight, but Jumbo's execution is just very incredibly clean across the map.
Yes, sir. I 100% agree there. Well, as we get into the closing stages, we're going to wrap this up. This is the end of week 7 for the Prime Meta League. We're going to be going into playoffs pretty soon, so make sure you guys stick around. Make sure you guys follow us on Discord, follow the chats, know what's going on in the league, because we're about ready to get to the very exciting part of the season. So hang around with us. Devyn, do you have any closing thoughts or comments?
Looking forward to seeing everybody fight it out at the end of the season. Thanks for having me on and casting with me, and good luck to everybody next time we see you. I'm not quite sure when the playoffs are yet, but good luck, everybody.
Ditto to that. Also, thank you to Cows for producing on the back end. You got to give the guys in the back a little love because this guy is doing some great work. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.